Things are good. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, cats will do what cats do.
Yeah, I love cats. I get it.
Okay, good, good, good. So you mentioned you're a Samus main, and yeah, like I'm excited. It's funny. I was actually just helping, no, kind of talking someone through the Falco side of that matchup, which is kind of neat. Yeah. So where do you want to start? Like, how do you foresee this time being productive? Yeah. What do you have in mind?
uh, Good question. So I figured our first session could be kind of like, a feeler, like, get to, I guess you have like the intake, so I guess you're gonna assess my skill level and stuff like that, and I guess from there we can kind of figure it out.
Yeah. So let's
Because
go. So I gave you the intake survey. Like,
yeah,
do you have your answers prepared?
sure.
Perfect. Let's start there. So, yeah, how would you? The first one is defining win condition in the context of Smash Brothers Melee. Yeah, how would you answer that one?
Sure. So pretty much what I think a win condition is just like a method or a process of taking your opponent's stocks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think every character has either like a shared win condition or different win conditions depending on the matchups, for example. So it's
Sure.
like not always going to be the same, pretty much, yeah.
So, what would be an example of one?
Um,
It can be a
so
simple
like
one. Doesn't have to be for your
yeah,
character.
well, I was gonna say for like Samus Puff, one win condition could be charge shot. Like that's how I get my stocks off that character, pretty much.
Sure. Yeah, that definitely makes sense to me. So, the way I view it is, it's the point at which the opponent, no, it's the condition at which the opponent can no longer fight back. Um,
Mm,
So charge shot absolutely fit now, and at that point, the opponent has no choice but to accept the penalty for whatever the punish. No, for whatever the because quality of condition varies, but yeah, once you get them to that point, once you get them into that position, you can get them there like by calling them out. Like if you call out a puff back air and beam them and at like 70, yeah, that results in a stock loss. But you also have things like have being Marth versus Luigi on FD, right? You get
right.
Luigi above you without a jump, and yeah, it's the point at which the opponent's counterplay is hope and pray. Um, that's the condition we're kind of building towards, basically. That's the way I
Okay.
always look at it. And yeah, if like if you have charge beam and Puff like whiffs a back air, yeah, they're like, and you've aligned yourself correctly, yeah, at that point their only option is really hope and pray, and that you don't pull the trigger. Um, so next bit would be, what do the following terms mean to you? So these are pretty common terms that I think that we see thrown around a lot, like overshooting, whiff punishing, undershooting. What do those mean to you?
Sure. So I don't really know how to like exactly answer the overshoot and undershoot, but the way I see it is like when you overshoot something, it's more like an undershooting. It's more like where you place your character. It's just more of like a positional advantage that you could give yourself depending on where your opponent's character is placed. That's how I see it. So
Sure.
like an overshoot could be to just overextend where you place your character, and undershoot is kind of like not doing that, quite the opposite.
Yeah, so like
Look,
one of them's kind of like, so what's the purpose of them? Like why are you like putting your, if it with overshooting,
right.
why are you putting the attack further into their zone?
Uh, sure. So it's more like to not only threaten that zone, but to not allow them to take up that space when you're overshooting. You can have like a Marth dash dancing in the corner, and if you just like place like I don't know, like a Samus F tilt in front of them, they're not going to get hit by it. You're just like threatening something.
Hmm.
Whereas an overshoot, you kind of want to overextend your character to guarantee that hit.
Well, yeah, to try to secure it, because
Oh
nothing
yeah, yeah,
it's not really guaranteed, because we're like there's an anticipation requirement. But I get what you're saying.
right.
So like in that example of Marth dash dancing, where do you put the forward tilt? Do you put it like where his body is? Do you put it at the back of his dash? Like where do you go with it?
Interesting. Yeah, I just I generally just think of the space that I think the dash dance would cover. So as soon as I see them go to the right, let's say Martha's dash dancing on the right side of the stage, for example. As soon as I
Hmm.
see them go to the right, my brain instinctively says, "Oh, they went to the right, they're gonna go to the left. So I try to time it with that, and I try to place it where I think they're gonna be.
Okay, perfect. And undershooting, what's the purpose of that? Like, where would you put, if you were undershooting against that same Marth on the right side of the screen, where would you put your attack?
Sure. So let's say they're like all the way again, like on the right side of the screen. I would probably place my character more towards like center stage.
Okay.
And yeah, put the F tilt there.
Perfect. So, you're right. So, undershooting, I always kind of like think of it as self-defense. The purpose of undershooting is to protect your space or take more space, but we're not really attacking the opponent necessarily. Do you see what I mean? Like, we're protecting that, we're guarding our zone in some way, either by taking more of it or by putting a hitbox at the edge of what we currently control. And we're denying the opponent from, like, running into our space. We're basically blocking them. We're basically putting up a fence. Then for whiff punishing, its purpose is to basically dance around attacks and either earn advantage. Like, we basically don't commit to the attack. We're not purposefully not doing the attack. So that when the opponent misses their attack, we're able to either punish it directly or gain advantage on it. And I mean, like, we see this all the time. Like, this is just dash dance, grabbing, wave dash, back down, smash, like, whatever. Every character has a version of it.
Right.
And then overshooting is basically attacking into the opponent's end zone. So, like, in that example you provided of Marth dash dancing on the right side of the stage, you know, depending on how close to the corner is, you know, we might be attacking at the back of his dash. We might be attacking all the way into the corner. We might be doing both. And it's just, it has to, but the idea there is we are anticipating that they are not going to put up a fence, and we are attacking where they're going to be, more or less. Okay. So attacking, did you notice the three of them, though, have a rock, paper, scissors kind of relationship with each other?
Actually, no. It's interesting.
Yeah. So, like, if you had to, like, if you had to describe it now that you're kind of, like, but do you see it, though? Like, do you see what I mean by when I say that, like, A beats C, A loses to B, which loses to C, which loses to A?
I can kind of see it, like, the more I think about it, yeah.
So tell me, so describe it. Like, so with Samus, like, how would this dynamic play out versus, say, like, that same Marth?
Yeah, so let's say I were to undershoot, like, an F tilt, and they were just in the right position, they could just whiff punish me, right?
Yeah, because just, like, what would that look like? Dash dance into what?
So I guess he would either dash dance, like, down tilt or, like, a fair.
Or grab, maybe, perhaps.
Oh, grab, yes.
And then for whiff punishing, so, like, if you know he's dash dancing, and trying to, like, punish you for undershooting a move, what would an overshoot look like?
I would probably F tilt him before he's able to, like, get out his grab or his down tilt or something.
So you'd, like, wave dash right up to his face and then, like...
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Is there anything else you could do there? Like dash attack, perhaps?
Yeah, I could see that, yeah.
Okay. And then if he's doing his... If he sees that you're doing... Like, and then I guess the last one would be he might raise his wall, like he might start, if he responds to that by starting to, like, nair in place or something. Yeah, how would you go about, like, your character, I guess, I guess Samus like okay at whiff punishing that? Like, what would she even do against, like, if he starts, like, putting up his, like, fairs and stuff?
If you were to, like, nair in place, dash attack could beat that. If he's doing fair in place, I could whiff punish it, or charge shot just goes through all of that, like, so if I have charge shot, that just beats it completely.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So clearly you know your stuff on this side of it. That's all good. Or at least this concept, even if you don't know it, like, in this way, it makes enough sense to you. You're able to, like, pick out, like, how these dynamics play out in matches. Before we move on to 3, one other thing. Can actions be more than one of these? What do you think? Like, can something
I believe so.
Okay, so how would that work?
Yeah, so I think you could undershoot and whiff punish at the same time. Like, I guess with, like, the example of, like, wave dash back down smash.
Okay.
Or if, like, a Fox does like run up smash, like a wave dash back, then a down smash, pretty much.
I'd consider that just a whiff punish though, not really an undershoot, because like
interesting.
Because the main thing there is if he doesn't miss in front of you, you probably don't do the attack, right?
True. Yeah.
Okay. What about a missile? Like, let's say you did like a fall through platform missile or like a short hop like missile. What would would that be an undershoot or would it be an overshoot?
If I'm doing it in place, I would assume that's like an undershoot because I'm trying to take space with my missile, but depends if I'm like running behind it, right? Or
well, the defining thing of an overshoot is that it attacks the space where the opponent is going to go, right? So
interesting. Okay.
So that could be both, kinda, right? Because like it does occupy the space in front of you, but like it also does kind of like travel behind to the spot the opponent would go if they were retreating. So it kind of does the task of both, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like with projectiles and aerials, that's usually where we get like two of these together. Those are like, I find the ground game is a little bit more straightforward in certain respects, but I find that jumps and projectiles tend to be where we see these things, where these concepts kind of combined. Although they're not the only places, but yeah, like it's because of the maneuverability or the extra space they control.
Right.
But yeah, just kind of was curious what you would think of that. And last thing, so the Jigglypuff number pad. So if Jigglypuff is on the 5 and she can't drift and she's suspended in midair, she can't drift or move, no jumps. Where do her spookiest attacks hit?
So yeah, I'm just gonna assume 7, 4, 1 because that's like where her back air is gonna hit pretty much, and that's probably her most oppressive move in the air.
It hits the 7 and the 1.
Yeah, 7, 4, and 1.
Okay, but if remember, she's in the cold vacuum of space where she cannot drift or jump. She has no jumps. She's just frozen in midair. So you think her back air hits 7 and 1 still?
No. I guess just 4 then. Yeah.
Yeah. Does she have anything else that we have to be worried about?
No. When she does that, then yeah. That's pretty much it, I guess.
Oh, so her other aerials aren't a problem. Like her up air's fine. Like her pound's fine. Like all of that is fine, right?
I guess it depends on the positioning, but if she's just floating in the air, then I would assume those are fine. Yeah, those aren't too hard to deal with.
Okay. So I have 4, 8, and 6. So I'm curious as to like why you're saying that like her up air, her pound, and such are like not threats. Like why is that just like a Samus thing? Like does Samus just not have to get hit by? Can Samus just like never like just deal with those perfectly or something, or does she have like intense counterplay to them or?
Okay, so yeah, I would say like 8 is definitely threatening to Samus if I'm above the Puff.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking of the context where I'm on the ground, Puff is just floating there in a vacuum pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, I think for Puff, I like to either be directly below her or diagonally.
Yeah.
And while she's facing me. And forward air just won't kill me. And up air won't really do anything to me unless like I'm above her, you know?
Yeah. But I didn't ask about like in the context of like Puff versus Samus. I just asked where her attacks hit.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No. This is my favorite question because people always like interpret it in their own way, and I learn a lot from it. So
okay. I would agree. Then 4, 8, and 6. Yeah, for sure, and arguably 2. But yeah. As
soon as we add the arguably, that's when I'm like no longer interested in it because I asked where it hit. Because if you read the question, it says where do they hit on the number pad most oppressively. So it's like 4, 8, 6. And the reason for that is exactly what you've pointed out. You want to be diagonal to her, which means that the 7 and the 9 are open, or you want to be under her, which is 1, 2, 3. And if we take a look at where her attacks hit as we've identified them on the pad, that's exactly where those spaces occupy, isn't it?
Right. Yes.
So the purpose of this exercise is more to help us understand how like we can use different ways of looking at a character's key tools to understand where we want to be in relation to them. Because that's
okay.
Does that make more sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, with the intake form, you clearly know your stuff. That's good. Like, even if we didn't read the questions initially or like prepare, like, did you prepare answers in advance? It's okay if you say no, but like, did you?
Yeah, I kind of did. I just wrote like on my phone, but as I read them, I'm like, I'm not sure if I agree with those anymore, but
Okay, so you're
they're
learning.
they're close to what I said. Yeah.
Okay, so you're learning, but you're still. But that's interesting because that suggests to me that you're very open to learning. That's good. With this, I'm gonna pass it back to you. I'm quite happy with the answers from the intake form, and I think we're in a good spot because you now know a little bit more about how I work.
Sure.
Where should we go from here? Do you have VODs you want to review? Like, do you want to? No, do you want me to? Do I unleash you upon ranked or unranked, and then I coach you live? Like, we've got lots of ways of doing this. What would work for you?
Sure. So I'll try to make this part a little brief, but for me, like I think I'm just all over the place currently. Last summer I think is when I got the biggest spike of increase with my improvement.
Mm-hmm.
But I was also unemployed. I worked for like schools pretty much, so I had pretty much July and August completely available, and I was just like degen no life playing Melee almost every day. I was doing like 30 minutes of Uncle Punch a day. Then I would like go into ranked for like an hour or two, and then I would do VOD analysis.
Nice.
But,
I
but
remember
then, like,
those days.
But then October, everything slowed down. Like that's when I went back to work. I had an extra month off in September because work was a little slow, but now I'm working again. I'm busy again, and it's just. I guess I'm trying to figure out how to maximize my time.
How much time do you have roughly to play Melee per week, would you say?
Per week? I think 5 hours a week is like a safe number, 5-6 hours, and that's probably a decent amount.
Yeah, like that's a good amount to commit to a hobby or like interest that you're passionate about. Yeah, I think that 5 to 6 hours is definitely good. What's like the allocation of that? Is it like a certain amount of time per day? Are certain days off the table because of other commitments? Like how does your week look?
Yeah, so Monday through Friday. Well, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I usually work, come home, I work out. I'm a musician too, so I try to keep that. So sometimes I'll play like some friendlies for like an hour or so, or yeah, but the weekends is when my time usually opens up by a lot more too. And Wednesdays I usually go to my local, so that entire night is usually dedicated to just competing, but I think that's a little different from improvement, I guess. Or improvement focused, yeah.
I mean, the two of them they don't have to be. Like the locals, I think can be a really good space to try new strategies and test the ones that we're working on in a more competitive environment. Like that's also sometimes what the function of ranked is for people, right? So it doesn't have to be A or B. If it fulfills a different role for you and you want to keep it that way, that's totally fine. But it's just one of those, like, it doesn't have to be that separate if we don't want it to be. That's the point I'm making. So, with that in mind, let me think here. So, you have Wednesday, where you can play. You have a couple hours that you can allocate throughout the week, maybe like an hour or two. And then but the lion's share of like the actual like Melee practice time is on the weekend. Would you say that's accurate, or?
Yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate.
Okay, cool. So what if we treated like so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, weekend. Would you say that band is more active on Thursday and Friday?
No, usually not.
Okay, so what if we treated like Wednesday? What if we treated like maybe Tuesday and then one of Thursday and Friday as like practice days? So you still have I'm thinking like Tuesday. I think it makes some amount of sense to do kind of like the VOD analysis. Any VOD analysis. Any kind of like new strategies or ideas you want to like test with, whether that's an Uncle Punch, whether you want to like go on ranked or unranked and like mess around with it there. I think the reason I'm thinking Tuesday as the day for that is because then it allows you to take those things if you want them or if you're ready to implement them to the local on Wednesday.
Interesting. Okay.
And then so then you can like have an opportunity to play around with the new strategies in like the more competitive environment if you're ready. And if you're not ready, if you decide that you're not ready, or if you test them and you're not satisfied with them, then you have one of Thursday or Friday plus the weekend to continue to like mess around with it and play with it. I think that I have a few reasons for suggesting that kind of structure. But what do you think of that as like at least initially from a gut reaction standpoint?
No, that sounds good. Yeah.
Okay, what of that appeals to you?
Well, no, it just makes sense. It makes sense with like time management. That's something I kind of struggle with in time management, but it makes sense with like practicing Tuesday, taking what I learned, or taking that tech or whatever in Wednesday, and then seeing how to like fix it up Thursday, Friday.
Yeah. Because then you also have the opportunity, if you want to spend Tuesday as like a let's go and make sure that like the implementation is correct, because you don't necessarily have to lab that day, but like basically Tuesday is like a development day, and then you have like Wednesday to like bring it to to like play with it in a like a more serious setting, and then you have like the entire like the rest of it for either coming up with new ideas. If it's already working as intended, you can like, you know, like if it's already working as intended, the new stuff or any new ideas or refinements you've made, then you have like an opportunity for free play to like generate new ideas. And if it's not working as intended, then you have a lot of free play time right afterwards where you can then like work on refinement or see what's not working. And yeah, like I think it spaces the time well, in an efficient manner. And yeah, it's flexible.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Perfect. So I think that makes sense. So what's something that you would be like? What's something that you're excited to work on with your character? Like, is there anything in the lab right now, or still?
I'm still just like grinding on my tech skill. I want to be I just want to be, I guess, what's the word I'm thinking? I guess tighter with my controls, tighter with my play.
Sure. Is there like a specific like link? Is there a specific like area that you're noticing that you're not as tight as you'd like to be? Like, is it movement, punish, edge guarding? Like, yeah.
I guess a little bit of everything, but
Okay.
I'm trying to think. I guess, not that I guess, I know that I could definitely be better at the ledge.
Okay.
I do practice my ledge dashes. I practice hack stashing. I practice my aerial interrupts.
Okay.
And I noticed, like, especially in some matchups, like against Marth, for example, I get blown up at the ledge. Let's see. And I think it'd be cool if we went over some VODs too, or a VOD or two. But
How would you feel about going on to like ranked or something, and then I could watch you play there?
Yeah, sure, we could do that too.
Perfect. I'm gonna give you my spectator code. So have you ever done this before?
Not exactly. I guess not with the coach. Maybe I'll like stream on Discord and have people just like.
We don't need to do that. So like basically, I've given you my code here. I'm gonna pin this for future use. And what you have to do is, once you have Slippy opened, so you have
I'm sorry, I misunderstood your question. Yeah, I know to enter it. My bad.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, because online brackets they have you do this. So.
Perfect. So with that in mind, let's boot up some ranked and let's watch some Samus versus whatever we get. Because I think that if it's by the ledge, yeah, I think it'll be good to get some live data. Because there's no, like, I can't get more recent data than this.
Yes. That's actually true. Mm-hmm. That, and also, like, I'd eventually like to talk to you about, I guess, Sheik right now. Oh, I got Zion? Jesus Christ.
Ooh, so where are you in ranked? Like, how high up are you?
I'm Master 1 currently.
Nice, okay.
I stopped grinding like a month or so ago because just... it got a little stressful sometimes.
Fair enough, fair enough. Okay, so let me know when we're in the match, just so I can see if it's loading, because I don't have anything yet, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, cool. So,
is he going as Fox or Ice Climbers?
He's playing Fox currently.
Okay.
Cool. The game looks like it's about to start.
Cool. Don't have anything yet. Okay, yep, it's loaded. We're good. Bit ambitious, I think, with that down smash early, but like this early when he's right in front of you, but like, yeah. So we went for aerial interrupt there. How consistent are you with that?
I would say I'm pretty consistent depending on the day.
Okay.
Like there's some days I get like almost every single one, and then other times I'm just like.
Okay. Nice forward tilt. Any chance we can be more, like, we can cover more options or be more aggressive with our Edgeguards?
Sure. Let me think.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it yet. It's just like yeah, like I feel like we covered so many more options by doing that. Like I think we needed to nair there, but
Okay.
But like when you went out there to babysit him, he had to go low. That's kind of what I'm thinking, cuz by staying on stage, we're like, giving him like a lot of room to just like react to us and like kind of trick us. Nice. I really liked how you like got that. No, how you got that. That was pretty sick. Could you do like the bomb waveland thing if you're gonna walk through him anyway?
Yeah, that's true. That's something I'm still like trying to incorporate into like I guess my mental lexicon, my game sense. I don't know how to explain it, but I see Morse code do it all the time, and I just forget that I can do it.
Would you like that to be a thing? Because you like using the bombs, it looks like.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't. Okay.
So, he probably bans what, like Fountain of Dreams, Dreamland, something like that.
Yeah, one or the other. I'd be surprised if he banned anything else.
Same. I think if you're gonna walk through him, let's make a point to do that waveland to do that bomb waveland thing.
Okay.
Like I just want you to kind of visualize how it would work, what it would look like in the game, what you normally do, what we're doing instead, and then yeah, just make a mental note to do it. Don't keep it around though, like don't focus too hard on it, because yeah, this guy is tough. Okay.
Oh.
What are your thoughts on her dash attack? Like, what do you like? Do you like her dash attack?
I'm like not the biggest fan.
How come?
I feel like anytime I do it, I get like whiff punished for it. At least like in neutral, I feel like it's, I don't know. Like I think I could get similar results from just doing like wave dash and F tilt or something like that.
True. Okay. I think that if we're gonna go for it, the way to like think about it is don't aim where they're going, aim where they're going to be, like a lot further back than you think they need to be. Like go about like an extra character length behind them. Yeah. That's also how you make it safe on shield anyhow. Oh, that's cool. So why Samus, anyway?
Have like a million reasons, but I just love the character. And when I started playing Melee, I remember, you know, I remember seeing Plop. I saw the doc. I'm a doc hit. I've been playing since like 2014, 20. I think it's 2015, around that. And I was like, oh, cool. There are people that are like getting top 8s at like majors with this character. This character is viable. This character must be really good.
Nice. Okay, so it doesn't come back from that. That's good. That's good.
Oh, kind of ledge dash.
Is that better than the aerial interrupt?
I think it's contextual. Like I'm trying to get towards center, so as long as I get one frame equivalent, I can go into shield and do my up B, so it's like invincible there. Whereas the aerial interrupt, if they expect it, then they can just bully me at the ledge in that one spot.
Okay.
So sometimes, like, you know, it's like a little burst option. I'll just do it. Like, it's not something I'll do too often, but when I do it, I just get center stage for free.
Okay. But which one is generally better?
The aerial interrupt, for sure.
Okay. And you get, like, up to 11 on that one, right? If I recall?
Yeah, frame perfect. I on average, probably get, like, 6 or 7 frames, though.
Okay, so that means that your up B would also be invincible on startup fully then, right?
Yeah.
You could also nair potentially.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll do aerial interrupt into fair, but that one's a little tricky.
Yeah, that one feels like it's a little like I feel like that one fair hits on what, like 6, 5, something like that.
It's faster than air actually. I think it first one comes out on frame 4. I think first hit.
Oh dang, you don't say. Yeah. Okay, never mind. That one makes sense. Yeah, I'm wonder I where I'm okay. Yeah, hits on 4. Dang, you don't say. I'm worried that like maybe you're trying to do too much at the edge. Like in terms of recovery. Like I'm wondering if there's a chance that potentially we're overcomplicating things. Because I feel like because when I see what you're doing at the edge, I see a lot of options, but like I think that like having lots of options, while good, if you can do the strong ones like the strongest ones really consistently, I think that usually works out better. Right. What is there something that gives you a lack of confidence in going for certain options, like in going for certain ledge options? Like I don't know what Samus's like ECB stuff is like, so like is it just like is there a setup that makes it easier that you need to do first for AI, or like how does this work a little bit?
It's just the muscle memory. It's different for every stage too. Like on Battlefield, it's easier to like SD if you go for it, for example. I think Yoshi's is like the easiest stage to do it because that like little slant, you have like more leeway. But I think generally it's like a 2-frame window to get the aerial interrupt.
Okay, what if that's the case? How confident would you be about just going for it? Like, as much like if you need to get from the ledge onto the stage, how confident do you think you'd be for just trying to go for it wherever possible in the next set?
I'm pretty confident.
Perfect. Let's try that then. Because I did notice you were going for the bombs too when we were walking through them. It looks like they turned into down airs and stuff. Were those intentional, or was it just like misinput or like missed the waveland, or like what happened there?
Yeah, so just with the bomb stuff, like I guess it's that I'm like conscious of it.
Mm-hmm.
I would try to like input a wave dash out of it, like a waveland rather, but I would notice, oh fuck, I missed the timing, so I'm in the air. What do I do? So I would just cover it with like an aerial.
Okay, do you think you're doing the waveland too early or too late?
I think I'm inputting it a little too early because like what I see the other top Samus mains do is they'll do a wave land back and down smash the shield, and it does, or at least it's supposed to shield poke a lot of the time, and when it does it, it's still like relatively safe because you're hitting like the back of the shield pretty much. That's
Yeah.
like kind of what I was thinking. So if you saw a dare, that was probably meant to be like a wave dash back down smash.
Gotcha. Cool. Do you want to? No. Have you already started queuing or like?
I can queue now if you'd like.
Yeah, let's try it. Let's queue and like let's go from there. And if you find that this structure is not working for you, let me know because we can change gears. But yeah, how are you finding it so far?
No, I'm enjoying it so far. Cause like I don't know, like you're able to see like what I'm doing pretty much. I don't know how to explain it, but
Right, perfect. So we got another fox. Nice DI. Because he was right next to us, I'm okay with that one. Like that unfair from ledge. But remember, we are making a point to do the aerial interrupt where possible. Right. And this is a level that it's easy on, apparently. Well, easier. Hey, we did it.
okay.
Can we meet him for going up there at all?
We can, but I feel like the risk reward generally isn't the best. But I can try it.
So like, yeah, like what would we do with that? Like fair?
Yeah, like fair from like one of the side platforms. I didn't even do that.
Yeah, because I feel like when he just full hops around, like it's just having to wait for his landing is just it looks really really awkward.
Ooh.
Like I feel from his side, he's just kind of like waiting for us to like because he knows that we're waiting for him so much. He's just kind of like varying how he's landing a lot. Or picking annoying angles to attack from. Yeah, he just kind of like jumped around us a lot.
Interesting. Okay.
Could we just play more in center stage and just like move around to like the middle? When he's above us, I mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh. Okay. Nice. You got the aerial interrupt too. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. got it, but I think that you pushed a button when you landed.
Yeah.
That's okay. The important thing is you got it. You're hitting a lot of these. Got that too. Nice. Good pressure. Ooh, okay. I guess you were trying to CC the illusion?
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about the percents, though.
What's the advantage that over Wave Dash out of shield punishing it?
There probably is none. In my mind, I'm just...
It's okay. Focus on him.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, moments passed. Oh, that was some good coverage. I was like, oh, why didn't we beam him sooner? But yeah, no, like saving it there so that it covered the double jump. That was smart. I liked that.
Thank you.
Yeah, when it came up, I would have just been like beam. Why are we shielding so much at low percents? I feel like that's our prime time for crouch cancel.
That is something that I've been trying to work on. And like the last week I thought about that. I'm like, why am I shielding so much? I don't know when or how I developed this habit.
I thought you were gonna missile him. After, like, when you were coming back?
Yeah.
Dead fox. See, if you're gonna overshoot with that dash attack, we aim even further back.
Interesting.
Like, aim, like, right for, like, the corner of, like, aim past his, like, right, slightly past where his dash would take him. been fine. We've won these. We've come back from these. Nice. Okay. Okay. So, talk to me about that fox.
Ooh,
How do you find the fox matchup in general?
I don't think it's too bad for Samus specifically. I don't think.
Yeah, I know all that stuff, but I mean, like for you,
Okay.
like how do you feel about it? Like what do you think you do well in it, and what do you think could be improved? Because you hit a lot of the aerial interrupts there. I also saw you go for a lot of the bomb stuff, and I think I saw you like even do the wave dash out on one of them, like the waveland out and then F smash his
Yeah.
shield, which was pretty sick. So I can see we're implementing things, but like, what's something else that you think that could make a big difference?
Um. Yeah. I don't know if it's like net play or anything like that, but for some reason, or maybe it's like a bit of my anxiety too. Sometimes when it comes to edge guarding, I just kind of like space out. Like, somebody gave me the advice of like when you're edge guarding spacies, try to edge guard for the side B because up B is like super reactable. So like,
I don't know if
don't
I'd
go.
agree with that, but like I would agree that we it's good to start with the side B. Um,
Yeah,
do you know? So they've said it's super reactable. I don't think the up B is super reactable, but I have a different reason for doing it. Um,
interesting. Okay,
it's order of operations. Which one happens first?
okay.
No. That's a question. Like, if Fox is recovering and he does his side B and his up B at the same time in the same spot, which one moves forward first?
The side B.
Exactly. So we're covering the side B because it is the first thing that happens.
Right. Okay.
So like, what are some ways that we could cover the side B that let us then like potentially cover things for the up B after?
Hmm. So I feel like there's a lot of things I can do. I'm just like messing it up, but like I know missiles make it hard for them to like side B onto stage.
Yeah,
Like F tilt, F smash.
Nair,
Yeah.
grabbing the
There's
edge after the missile. Because if it's hard for him to recover onto the stage, if we just like grab the edge, there's a certain window where where if he does the side B, he's dead, and if he
right.
doesn't do the side B, then it's because he upbeat, right?
Right.
So there's that. Yeah. We also have like bombs can also be okay versus side B, I think, right?
Uh I don't think that's generally advised because you're just like in so much lag, especially against like side B.
Okay, so maybe not bombs, but like missiles, nair,
Yeah.
possibly back air.
Back air is like a tricky one. It's like not really guaranteed, but
Okay, but like I mean, none of these are really guaranteed, right?
oh,
Like because
I guess my wording is poor right now, but I don't know. I feel like something like Nair just lasts longer, and it'll definitely hit them. Versus like I guess back air is just more difficult to hit, especially consistently.
okay, fair enough. So like Nair's persistent hitbox, higher duration, the fact that you can kind of like fall with it, like you could like go onto a platform Nair and then like fast like run off Nair and fast fall, and that covers a much
Right.
bigger area than like back air does.
Yes.
Okay, that'll make sense. So after let's say you do the Nair, or like the missile, like you basically like go onto like a surface, you come down, you shoot the missile or do the Nair to cover certain illusion things, and then you notice they're up being. At that point, what do you think? What do you have to work with? Do you think?
Uh, I feel like that's when I could start using more moves. I would say back air is really good if they up B in a range where I could like reach them.
Okay.
Back air could like the knockback is insane. Like on startup I could get their charge shot. Like Nair up tilt up tilt becomes a lot better against up B. Like especially if they're recovering from above the ledge and they're trying to sweet spot it. Like excuse me, up tilt should typically hit them.
Okay, if they're trying to sweet spot, though, is that better than just grabbing the edge? Like, if we read that they're going to the edge, if we think... Because up tilt's kind of a read in a way, right? Because we're, like, anticipating that they're going to go to the edge. Couldn't we just, like, grab the edge?
So, yes and no. Like, if I have a gut feeling, then, yeah, then grabbing the edge obviously gets the stock. But I could just throw out the up tilt without thinking so much, and if they go high, my up tilt should be done, and I should be able to, like, get another follow-up. Does that make sense?
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I bet why don't we watch back some of that Battlefield game and see if that and see what happens? Because right now we are at the phase of I'm curious as to how much I want to see if this actually happens the way we think it does. So why don't you share your screen with me and I'll take a look at and I'll see yeah, we'll look at this together.
Sure.
Perfect, I can see it. So let me pop this out, and yeah, let's see what happens. So we're looking for an Edgeguard. This guy really likes down throw. See, I don't like dash attacks like that one because, like, the one that you did, it's just like the one that you did. It's just basically right in front of him. So this is like okay. So let's say here. So if we go for like a missile there, then fair enough. Okay, yeah, that's the one. That's the one. But we're looking for like an up tilt, really, like any kind of up tilt Edgeguard, because I want to see like what the different like him recovering with up B is what we're looking for.
Right. Okay.
This looks like it'll be promising.
So, yeah, there. So, I think that's, like, what some of the other Samus mains have, like, told me, too. That's, like, kind of, like, the Edgeguard flowchart. Where, if they're going to recover high, they're either... excuse me. If they're up being high, they're either going to recover high or sweet spot ledge. And the whole idea is, like, I can just up tilt, and if it whiffs because they recovered high, I can still have a potential chance of, like, covering their next option. Whereas if I just hold ledge, then they get to stage for free, pretty much.
Okay, fair enough. So I can see the appeal of like, I can see why we wouldn't do that. I can see why we wouldn't grab edge necessarily. My one concern is though that like, while it's true that we like that while it's true that we were able to like stay on stage, we weren't really able to cover that up B. Like, the one that he did. Like, he got onto the platform into, like, shield drop position pretty, like, afterwards. You know what I mean? Like, here. It'll probably be... Yeah, like, let's take a look at what happens.
It's, like, right here, pretty much. He gets...
Yeah, and I don't know if you could have realistically done that nair any faster. So, maybe what might make sense is, if we know he's going to land on that platform, he's probably going to shield, right?
Right.
What if we did, like, a bomb thing?
True. Okay. Yeah, that makes so much more sense.
Yeah, because, like, if we know that he's going to land there anyway, maybe going for, like, a hit that's, like, so shieldable isn't really the best use of our time. Maybe that suggests that we should be doing something else here after the up tilt that deals with his like next situation we're likely to face more effectively. Because even if he doesn't shield it, if the bomb just hits him, like we can always just like nair out of that or whatever. But like if he does shield it and we go for that nair, then like the nair directly, yeah, like we wind up here. And now he's got he's now got us traveling in the air to center stage. He's blocked it. Like he's got so much control here. We've effectively let him get back to one of his strong positions in neutral. And I don't really think that's necessarily what we want to be doing. So yeah, like maybe we find better ways of staying on him. That's one way I'd potentially look at solutions here.
Sure. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
I bet this happens again. Let's find another one. See, and then you like backed off there because like, so what could we have done there? Like, what instead of what we did, like what could have worked there when we hit him off?
I think an up tilt, actually, if I would have just done it like teeter canceled it.
What if we okay, so let me ask you. So if you're standing there, what, like, let's rewind this, and I'm going to share my screen actually. So get to the spot where you hit him off and pause once he's in the uppy. Like in the uppy startup. Okay. So we're going to make a handy dandy diagram. So I'm going to share my screen and you tell me if you can see this. Oh wait, OBS is, I did the thing, didn't I? I did! Okay, so how do I fix this? I need to like exit this, move this over here, and then that should solve it, right? Okay. Perfect. So, you can see this, yes?
Yes.
So, we're gonna name this, Fox, what's your favorite color?
Red, why not?
Red? Okay, cool. So this is you, and then he's gonna be gray, because he's boring and plays Fox. So these are your starting positions. You have two things going on here. We're not going to worry about them yet, but they're important to note possibly later. So where can Fox, from this position, if Fox, with Fox at being, where can he go, theoretically?
I could be wrong, but it looks like he could go to ledge from here, although...
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. So this would be one pathway he has with his recovery. What else can he do? He can basically do this kind of angle, like 45. Yeah. And basically anything, and if he goes this way, then he finishes all the way up here somewhere. And then he's got like, so what are the convergence points? Like what are the important areas that we need to make note of? I feel like him going for the platform is important.
Sure.
Like, well, do you disagree? Like,
no, I agree.
Okay, good. Well, no, if you had a good reason not to agree, then that would be fine. But yeah, I think that this one's pretty non-controversial. So any angle that puts him above this is pretty important, right? Yeah. So with that in mind, how do we cover? Like, my question is where does his up B finish? Can you play the match a little bit so we can just see where that winds up?
Sure. So. Right about there.
Okay. So right about here. So he just barely makes it onto the platform, doesn't he?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So that's important to note. So with him going at this angle, he winds up about here. So this represents the maximum range of his up B, basically, which is kind of neat. So with this in mind, since this is the furthest distance he can go, more or less, we know that his ranges are like around here. And then we also have like the ones where he goes on stage. So we can actually complete this diagram with this. So do you see what we're doing here? We're kind of like creating like a map of like his possible trajectories with this.
Right, yeah. Cool,
huh? So, how do we cover the maximum amount of these? Because some of these aren't relevant, right? Some of these, like the ones up here, like we can kind of now start crossing them off based on like whether or not they come back, let him come back to the stage or not. So if he goes to here, can he come back to the stage?
Not to stage, no.
Okay, so he has to fall to the edge then, right?
Yes.
Cool. So that's worth noting. So from here to here, he has to, like anything basically behind this area, he has to basically, like, he can't make it to stage. So it's probably about, like, the line where he can't come back to stage is probably around here. And it doesn't matter if it's, like, totally perfect, but, like, there's kind of a line here where he's no longer able to make it back. So it's really, like, the angles that are, like, it's really, like, a very small subset of angles that we have to worry about where he has the mix-up of both, right? It's not like he can just do any old angle and make it back to stage. Some of them are edge guardable by just grabbing the edge, forward tilting from the stage, etc. So I guess here my question is with the which area is easier and harder for Samus to cover? Like this top one or this bottom one?
I'll say the bottom one is definitely like a lot easier for sure because I have access to like my grounded moves, my up tilt, F tilt, even jab. Well, actually, not wouldn't jab up B, but F smash, charge shot. Like I have so many like grounded options I can use there.
Okay, what happens if you crouch here? Like how tall are you if you crouch?
I guess like up to her waist. Like her crouch isn't like too low. Honestly, it's like a pretty high crouch.
Okay, so like around.
I guess where her fist is like, yeah.
Okay. Do you think it makes sense to potentially crouch here?
No.
Why not? So you'd be like a block like here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The reason I ask is we know the up B is ending around here, right? Which means it's ending around here, here, here. So couldn't we like potentially crouch and then just short hop near? Or like full hop near, like to cover most of these?
Interesting. That's something I never thought of before.
Then
but, like no, I could definitely see that working for sure.
Because like also like we have to consider that his the only angle that really like sends him here is like going straight, right? So we could also like up tilt that one and any of these other ones because we're crouching and we're like and he's at the perfect distance. We could probably just forward smash, right?
Yes.
So anything below this line, we like forward smash on reaction or forward tilt on reaction, whichever, it doesn't matter. And anything above this we can probably nair, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that seems okay.
I guess since this is like a long distance, but you would say this is reactable, right? Like this up B here?
Yeah, with where
I think that's something I also have like difficulties with, especially like under stress. I feel like my reaction times get way worse. So when it comes to like edge guarding, like this fox, for example, I just I just didn't react to it pretty much. I was kind of just guessing where he was going to be instead of just reacting to it.
Yeah. So like where are your eyes on the screen in this situation? Are you on Samus? Are you on him? Are you on the space between you? Like where are you at? What are you looking at?
Interesting. So yeah, I'm typically just looking at my opponent's character like 90% of the time.
So we don't know where we are then, right?
I feel like I have a feeling of where I'm at.
Okay.
But I would say like my eyes are generally like more focused on my opponent.
Do you have Samus in your peripheral?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, you should know the distance then, because you're probably like making a shape then, because like if your eyes are here, like if the center of your focus is here and she's in your peripheral, like this is all probably blurry, but like you see, this would be a different shape if he was up here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that would be one way I would recommend maybe like getting used to like evaluating distance. Because if the shape of this changes based on like where he is relative to you, then that's information. You can use that for deciding whether or not like how you do your edge guarding and stuff. That's one of the big advantages to this, I think. Instead of like, because some people don't keep the character in their peripheral. I always do because I find that like what the advantage is, I know where they are relative to me height wise, and since you know that he's like level with the stage. You know you don't have to deal with these, like, with the sweet spot angles going diagonally.
Okay.
Does that make sense, or do I sound like I'm talking crazy?
No, it makes some sense, yeah.
So, some sense. What doesn't make sense?
Oh, it makes complete sense. I'm sorry. I'm terrible with words. I'm so sorry.
No, don't apologize. I'm just... I value words kind of highly, so I just, I will ask questions, but yeah, I'm not taking offense or anything. It's all good. So, with this in mind, I get, like, how would this change, I guess, if he was, like, if he was, like, here? If his, like, one position was, like, a little bit higher, how does this system change? Like, let's say instead of being here, he's here. This is a much harder one, right?
Yeah, that angle would open up pretty much, because now he has access to the ledge, he has access to me, the side platform, pretty much. Going even higher if he decides to do that and go for like a drift mix-up.
Okay. This is all true. Is there any utility to crouching in that spot?
I can't think of any crouch canceling the up B, especially when they go through me, is not something I would normally do. I usually can't catch them when I do that.
But are they gonna really like aim at you? Like, do you think that they're really gonna aim at
not
you?
Not often. I guess it depends, but 9 times out of 10, no, they won't.
Right. So like realistically, if we like, I've already sent this to you, so I don't mind erasing some of it. But like, let's say that like in this new like system that we're constructing, this new weird creation that we're establishing. My question here is, so if his starting point is here, because this is like a pretty common spot for him to recover from, he can go to the edge, and I just did something dumb. Okay, good, we got back. He can go forward. He can also aim at you technically, but he can go forward. He's aligned with the platform, which is pretty good for him. And then he also has the option to like go into any of the like recovery angles high up. Like he can go for these ones as long as they make him back to the stage. And not all of them will, but this is just more of a representation. So you're saying that crouching doesn't help you here. My question is if he's with the percent he's at, is tipping back air as he goes behind you? Like, cause the way I view it is like, if hit by crouching here, we're able to by crouching here, are we able to react to him going down at the edge at all, and potentially like down tilt him or something, to pop him up for like a second hit, or is it just that like the up tilt is what we still want to be doing here to cover this?
So, yeah, generally I would say, especially at this percent, I would want to up tilt. Up tilt would pretty much just almost guarantee the stock. And as well as like just crouching there and going for down tilt, especially at this percent, if they DI it properly, I just don't get a follow-up. It's just impossible to get a follow-up.
True. So could we like potentially low angle out forward tilt or something as an alternative?
Yeah, but it's not as active. I mean, I guess like down angled forward smash is active longer than the forward tilt, so that would probably work, and it's probably better, but
okay. Fair enough. So basically this is a hard one to cover. And this one seems like it's a hard spot to cover, and I guess that's kind of what the role of these missiles are, aren't they? Because they kind of discourage him from going into this spot.
Right. Yeah, that's 90% of why I shoot the homing ones, just to get them just lower, because if it hits them while they're in startup, better for me. It forces them to recover lower.
Okay. That makes sense. I guess the one thing I'm kind of like the one thing I'm always concerned about when I see this up tilt is that I feel like they almost always get onto this platform for free. So I think the one kind of thing I'd like advise is that if they do have that option, I think that how we treat this position needs to be a little bit different, because this is more of like a pressure situation as opposed to like a direct hit. And I think that like that's an easy adjustment to make. Like, I think that's just, like, a conceptual thing. Like, we just need to, like, think about, like, bombs, maybe. What other things do you have below platform, like, side plat? Can you, like, go for shield poke? Like, does Samus have any good setups with that from below someone, or no?
It depends on the matchup. Depends on, like, their shield health. And up tilt can actually cover, like, right above her head on the platform as well.
Okay.
Yeah, on Battlefield it does reach. But, in terms of, like, shield poking, like rising nair can sometimes shield poke. Up air and fair can sometimes shield poke from below, but I don't. I mean, I guess there is some value to that, but
could you go for tipped back air?
Actually, yeah, but that one's pretty hard. That one's actually pretty hard.
So what's difficult about it? Like, is it just like a tight window or something, or it's like tight area?
Yeah, it's like a very specific, like, what's the word I'm thinking of? I'm sorry. It's like a very specific spacing that you want for your back air to connect.
Okay, but we have to, like, some people sometimes hold their shield though when they like land on these platforms, right? Because a lot of times they're like buffering shield drop, or like prepping for shield drop. So that could also be a consideration if you notice someone doing that. Because, like, if you...
True, okay.
Yeah. So it's like a... what I'm saying about these pressure situations, these tight ones, after like recovery, like during mid recovery, is that there's kind of a lot of ways to play them, and there's a lot of like subtle things you can look for that can give you different options and allow you to, you know, press advantage more effectively. So I guess the big thing I'd kind of say is just don't like as long as we recognize that this up tilt upon missing is a lot of times not going to allow us to like directly follow up on the opponent. What I would say the next step is when they do land on that side platform, let's just make sure that we're like keeping an eye on the things we can use to push advantage, which can be things like how they tilt their shield, because that can make it a lot easier to, like, normally back air is like really difficult to hit, I agree, but if they're tilting their shield to a side, that makes it a lot easier. And then we get a much better punish. Similarly, if they're light shielding, like sometimes people light shield on landing, especially characters with crappy shield health, especially if they've just been shield poked. So that can be a spot where bombs are really good. And then as a kind of like an old faithful, yeah, like going for nair, going for up tilt, those are just kind of classic options in these kinds of situations. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm coming from here. That's the only thing I wanted to comment on here.
Cool. No, that all makes a lot of sense too. Yeah, I feel like these are things that I've thought about as well, but just not placed together, or at least not in this way. Because thinking about it now, yeah, if the up tilt does miss, then I should maintain my pressure.
Yeah.
And just watching back, I notice I'm like, oh, they're just playing neutral again for free.
Yeah, because like when Samus commits to a jump and it doesn't work out, like yeah, she incurs a lot of lag. Like that's just because of how buoyant she is. That's just kind of the nature of the character. She has to have a lot of like precision with where she places her jumps specifically, because yeah, her ground game's just more efficient than her air game. But her air game still has like an important niche, and there are ways to like make it more efficient, like using bombs with the wavelands at the right time, like recognizing when you can do bomb wavelands, recognizing like when you don't need like to full hop up there. Yeah, like it's just, you can do a lot with a little in this game in general. Samus is no exception.
Right.
Yeah. So I think we're basically at time, but how did you find this went? What are your thoughts? Like, yeah, talk to me.
This went great, actually. I pulled more than I thought I would. Or actually, I just didn't what I was expecting. But no, this is great. Like, even in this matchup, I thought I had like a nice little flowchart going against like Spacey's recovery, but I'm realizing that there's still more to improve on.
Awesome.
And yeah, I'm getting a lot to think about. And this is like the kind of analysis I'm actually looking for, because, you know, I'll talk to other people that are like around my level, and although I do appreciate the type of analysis that we do, it tends to be more like, hey, let's look at every neutral interaction. Oh, you did this wrong. This is how you fix it. Do down smash there, or do this there, instead of
move optimization analysis. Ugh. Yeah.
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 And I feel like that can be helpful at a certain level, but I feel like where I'm at now, I'm just not improving with that kind of analysis. I think I want to think about things more. I don't know, like a lot of these concepts, like I want to like explore, because I feel like internally I have them, but I don't have them down like you, like the way that you can explain it. Like the whole process of undershooting, whiff punishing, overshooting, like the whole intake thing, even that, like I feel like I kind of had like an internal. I think I understand it, but the way that you understand it, I think is where I'd like to get to eventually.
Hey, I'm here to help with that, so it's all good. What I would say about that is, I very much enjoyed working with you. If you want to book again sometime soon, let me know. Like, or if you want to, like, a lot of people do it like, you know, bi-weekly, tri-weekly. Like, there's people, like, how often people like see me is up to them.
Right.
But if you're finding that this is helpful, you know, I'm definitely down to do this again. Aside from that, though, I think that the big thing to remember with this game is that we're really used to the on hit rock paper scissors system, which is like the hit, grab, crouch / shield. So, like, those three kind of work together for one rock, paper, scissors system. But Melee is a game where it's also got another one, like the positional side, which would be like the undershoot, overshoot, with punish triangle. And the two systems run concurrently. And if I had to give weight to one or the other, I would actually say the positional one's more important. Because how you do something in this game tends to matter more than what you did. Because the one thing I want to point out here is that, like, a lot of the things we're describing with, like, doing with Nair and stuff for these Edgeguards can be achieved with other aerials that we've acknowledged. It's harder, but it's still doable with other options, which is also part of why I find move assessment analysis such a waste of time. Because, like, move optimization analysis such a waste of time, because it doesn't capture the important essence of what we're actually doing in this game, which is the positioning. It's the placement. How is so much more important than what. If there's nothing else that we take away from here other than these lovely flowcharts and, you know, like, how to structure our time better, the only other thing I really recommend you, like, the one thing I'd really focus on is, it's not so much what we did, but it's more about how we did it, and was there an opportunity for us to do it in a better way? Like, what was our method, basically? Because I think you'll find it, like, that gives you way more return on investment than just figuring out that tipped back air was stronger here. Like, in a certain spot. Yeah. So, can I count on you to think about what establishing a schedule that will work for you? And
yeah,
all right,
1000%, yeah.
And you're gonna try some of these concepts that we talked about too?
Yeah.
Cool.
For sure. Yeah, and I think next time I do book with you, I'm definitely gonna try to have some VODs, and I think I can kind of like pinpoint where I want to go with this now.
Perfect.
And yeah, I definitely want to talk to you about the Sheik matchup, I guess, our next session, because that is like the only matchup where it feels though I just don't know what I'm doing half the time. Like, I've seen so many VODs, I've read so much on it, I still feel a little lost, but
we'll tackle Sheik next time then. I'm gonna let you go, but you know how to reach me, and if you have any follow-up questions about the stuff we went over today, you know, send them my way, and yeah, we'll call it here, but I hope you know, happy gaming, and yeah, we'll talk soon.
For sure. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good day.
Same to you. Bye-bye.
See you.